Greetings and welcome to another Lessons with Odin. On this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute little cuttlefish pendant. This was made using some of the beads I got from NBeads, and this is what I came up with. I like cuttlefish. They are cute. They'll doot around in the ocean, and I figured I had this idea, and I'll try to make it into fruition. This one is using simple techniques, however, it can get a little frustrating if you lose your place and can't find anything to do about it. So, you'll be using mostly right angle weave with some peyote and fringy bits. So, for this project, you will need 4 6x4mm rondelles, 2 eyeball beads. I'm using these like 4mm coin beads, they're kind of cute. Here I used teacup beads because I liked the flat dynamic of them all. You can use 2mm fire polish beads, you can use rounds, rondelles, whatever you got on hand. Don't fuss over it. You will also need size 15 seed beads and size 11 seed beads. Now, here I did matchy-matchy, same color for both. I am going to be using a bunch of fuck ugly colors that don't coordinate so that I can help show you what I am doing. So I recommend you do the same to help follow along and kind of get the hang of what row is where. And of course your needle and thread. I'm using a size 12 needle with some 1G. And with all that being said, let us get started. Now, I'm going to start off by threading on 5 size 11 seed beads. Pull them down, pass back through them so you form a loop. And tie an overhand knot with your working thread and your tail. Don't worry about how much tail you need, don't really need it. Then you are going to thread on 3 giant rondelles and 1 size 11, pass them down, skip over that size 11, then pass through the 3 rondelles. Pull it tight so that that 5 ring caps over it. Now, since there's no real equal side to this, I'm just going to pass through a bead that is generally across the way from the knot. Pass through it so that and then pass back through the 3 rondelles so that we cap the end of it, generally in the center. I'm going to then pass back through the top size 11 seed bead. Add on 3 more size 11 seed beads and pass back through that top bead to form a picot or a right angle weave stitch, whichever you prefer to refer to. Going to go up 1 through the next so that we end up at the top. Add on 3 size 15 seed beads, pass back through that same right angle weave, and you can feel free to reinforce that as you like. You want to end up coming out of the size 11 seed bead that's in between the 2 stitches. You're going to add 3 more size 11 seed beads and pass back through that same bead that you're coming out of. Next up, you're going to move down 1, across, 1 more so you're at the bottom. Then from the bottom, you're going to pass through the 3 rondelles and then go through the center of the 5 circle beads at the bottom. So you've got 2 right angle weave stitches sandwiched there and through the circle. You're going to then add 1 more size 11 seed bead and 1 more rondelle. Skip the seed bead, pass back all the way up, through the circle again, through the 3 rondelles, pull that taut, and then you are going to pick up the opposite side of that seed bead that you added. It is going to be a bead where it's going to be the side where there is no thread coming out of it. So you can see the thread from the previous stitch there. We're going the opposite direction, and that anchors that in place. Next, we're going to start working on the head. So I am traveling down the 3 rondelles once more. I am going to pass through one of the seed beads in the ring of 5. I'm going to add 2 size 15 seed beads and pass through to the next size 11 seed bead to shove them in there. 2 seed beads, size 15, through the next 11. Do that all the way around. Now, if we do math, we are going to have 10 size 15s all the way around. These 10 size 15s are going to be our 10 rows of right angle weave. So, I'm going to start by picking up the first size 15. Going to pick up 3 size 15s and pass back through that same size 15. That begins my first right angle weave stitch. I'm going to pick up the next one over, add on 2 more size 15s. I'm going to pick up the size 15 from the previous stitch, move forward 2 size 15s on the bottom row. 2 size 15s, go backwards and pick up the previous size 15, jump forward 2 size 15s, repeat that all the way around until you are at the last size 15. Alright, so I am at my last bottom row. Before I continue on, I'm going to pick up the size 15 across the way, which is going to be the first bead we added when we started this row. I'm only going to add 1 size 15 seed bead, pass back through the previous stitch like normal. That completes our set. I'm just going to reinforce by passing through these beads once more. So now we're ready to do the next step. There are 10 beads on the top of the ring, and that is going to be our base row for our next stitch, just like how we did here. My base ring was the goldeny, plummy things. Now it's going to be the light blue. So I am at one of the topmost beads there. I'm going to add 3 seed beads, pass back around through the bead that I started from to form my first stitch, pass to the next size 15, add on 2 more size 15s, pass back through the previous stitch, then through the bottom, once more, through 1 more bead on the bottom, and continue on to complete the next row. Then you'll build 1 more row on top of that. Remember, when you're at your last stitch, you need to pick up the bottom and the next one over. This is the first stitch that we started from. So go ahead and finish this row, and then build another row on top. Alright, so I ended up actually adding an extra row on top of number 4 because my size 11 in the center on top of the rondelle was sticking out too far and it was going to interfere with my join. So you can either do that, or you can actually change this size 11 to a size 15 if you don't want to do that. So now we're going to purse these together to add our tentacles, and we have our 10 beads here. We're going to kind of mush them together so that they match, and we're going to end up with 1 on each side and then 4 in the center. So I'm going to go through the bead that I am already coming out of. I'm going to pick up 1 more. I'm going to add on a size 15. Then I'm going to go back. This is the bead that we started from. This is the bead I'm coming out of. I'm going to pick up the bead that's right next to it, so that we form a right angle weave stitch. We have our 4 crosses there. I'm going to go back through 1. Then I'm going to pick up 2. I'm going to add a size 15, jump across the way to the size 15 that matches it, so that I start pinching that together. I'm going to pick up the previous bead that we added, then go back through 2 size 15s, add on 1 more size 15, jump across to the bead across the way that matches it, through the bead we added, pick up 1 more, then we pick up the next bead over, the one on the opposite side, the next one over, because we're not adding a bead this time. Go through that 3rd bead in the center, move back to the one at the side. So now we have a ring of 10 beads and center of 3. We are going to add tentacles on to the 10 outside. So Cuttlefish have 8 tentacles and 2 arms. So the 4 on each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are going to have tentacles, and the sides are going to have arms. We're going to do a basic fringe. Thread is coming out of one of the side beads, so I'm going to make an arm. For that, I'm going to add 6 size 11 beads and 4 size 15 beads. I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to skip over the last size 15 and pass back through all the other beads. Leave your tension a little loose so it flops around a bit instead of sticks straight out, but after we have gone all the way down, we're going to pass through that same bead that we started from on the opposite side and pull through so that we have our arm. Next, I'm going to pick up the first bead on the row of 4, and we're going to add a tentacle. So the tentacle size is going to be 3 size 11s and 4 size 15s. Do the same exact steps, pull it all the way down, skip over the first size 15 and pass back through the rest of the beads to form our tentacle. Pass back through the bead we started on the opposite side where there is no thread. And that is how you're going to do your tentacles. So you've got 3 more on this side, then you're going to be on the side edge. This is where you add an arm, then you've got 4 more tentacles on that side. And here's our little tentacles. So attaching the eyeballs is relatively simple. I am coming out of the size 15 beneath a fringy bit. I'm going to jump up 2 rows. So for me, it will be this rosy, goldy, plummy thing through a green and then up a green. I want to end up through a bead that is facing horizontal, and that means the whole orientation is up and down. For me, I jumped over 2. If you only have 3 rows instead of 4, you're only going to jump 1. So I'm going to add my coin bead. If I was going to use a teacup bead, I would also add another seed bead, either a size 15 or 11. And before doing the next step, I would skip over the seed bead, go back through the eyeball, and then attach it. But I just want these coin beads to kind of... So because of the size of my bead, I'm going to skip over 1 bead. This is directly above the thread that I'm coming out of, and I'm going to go up through the second one. And avoid your tentacles, anchor it so it sticks up like that. You're going to then use the right angle weave to travel across maybe 1 to 2 columns, somewhere that's kind of in the center, kind of not. Let's see, starting from there, I jumped about 3 rows. Finish off with my last one. Then I'm going to go down that blue bead, add on my eyeball, fix thingies, and then jump over 1, 2, so that it anchors the second eyeball in place. You can go around and reinforce if you don't like how floppy these are, or you can just end your thread and continue to the next row. Next, you're going to travel all the way up, and we will begin the frills. Now, when you've traveled all the way up there, you're going to want to end up coming through the very first rondelle. This can get kind of tricky, so make sure things are kind of loose up there when you have started it. So I'm coming out there. I'm going to add 6 size 15 seed beads, and then pass through one of the very first size 15 seed beads on the head. This will be right directly underneath the size 11 beads. So it sets up like that. You're going to go through a size 11 seed bead, then go up 2 rondelles. Going to add 4 size 15 seed beads, then pass back up through the middle and the topmost rondelle. Going to add 4 more size 15 seed beads and pass up just through the topmost rondelle. We're going to add 1 more seed bead and then go up through the sides of one of the size 11 right angle weave. Gonna jump over, go immediately down the size 11. That is the second right angle weave at the top. Then pass back through that size 15 that we added on top of the rondelle. This will set up for the second row of one of the frills. So I'm going to pick up 1 more bead that starts the frill on the top rondelle. I'm going to add 1 size 11. I'm going to pick up 2 size 15s down the way. Add on another size 11. Pick up 2 beads along the way. Size 11. 2 beads along the way, and so forth till you get all the way down. The last bead you're going to come out of is at the bottom of the rondelle, but it's only going to be a single bead. So we add that there. Then we're going to turn around. I'm going to go through the size 15 on the head section, go up through the first size 15 and the size 11. Going to add 3 size 15 seed beads and jump over to the next size 11. Keep on going, add 3 beads, go to the next size 11, all the way up until you reach the top, and then end up coming out of the size 15 at the tippy top, and you'll add a bail there. The bail is super simple. From that top bead, all I'm going to do is add a number of beads big enough to form a loop. Pass my back through the same bead I started from. There's my loop. Reinforce it how you like. And then you can add your next frill on the opposite side. And from there you will have your completed cuttlefish piece. I loved how I made this. I was actually very pessimistic about how this design turned out, but I think we got there eventually, and it's really cute. So, if you're into sea creatures yourself, feel free to create this piece and show me pictures over on our Discord group. Your color combinations, and if you made any alterations and did any cool things with the eyes, I want to see it. So, links to the Discord group down below. We're just a bunch of beady groups, people that we do a lot of fun things, talk about beads, talk about life, and share pictures of our pets. And with all that being said, be sure to like up this video and subscribe if you want to see more bullshit from me. Check out all of my internet shenanigans down in the description box below, all my social medias, come and say hi. And of course, if there's anything I need to be trying out right now, feel free to let me know down below, and I will see you next time.